All right, I believe we are live now. My name is Matt Storms. Thank you for joining us today. The first Hangout of 2015. I wonder how many of us will miswrite the year when we're filling any data out for the next few months, as it does always happen. With that being said, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us today. Barry, what time do you have to leave today?
Anytime soon.
Oh, okay. You don't have to leave at sunset?
No, I do. I have to leave soonish.
Oh, okay, soon. Okay. Outstanding. So let's go ahead and run through introductions, and then we're going to talk about 2015 tactics and things like that people are going to be doing, and things that we can expect to possibly see others doing, and so along those lines of 2015. So let's go ahead and do introductions. Barry, you go first.
Me?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Barry Schwartz. The phone doesn't stop ringing. Sorry.
I need to put my headset.
All right. And Christina?
Hi, I'm known as Webado in Webmaster Central.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's see if Danny's mic is working today. Danny. Danny, talk. Danny, I can hear you breathing, but you're not speaking.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my man.
Oh, so you were right. It is the browser.
Go ahead and introduce yourself. Go ahead and introduce yourself, my man.
I'm Danny Poladian. I am generally interested in SEO, and I'm happy to be here.
Outstanding. Phil, do you have a mic turned on?
Yes, I do. I'm a kind of a technical analyst. I'm actually a web analyst but also do a bit of technical SEO. My kind of interest is I'm doing a presentation on JSON-linked data, which has possible kind of implementations for kind of 2015. So I'm keen to get some feedback on that specific thing, but I can explain in more detail later.
Outstanding. That's something I was actually speaking to someone about a few months ago.
Oh, great.
Okay, Robert.
I'm Robert O'Haver. I'm Internet Marketing and SEO Specialist, or Expert.
Outstanding. Ted.
I'm Ted Juck. I'm just kind of sitting in today, but I'm a TC over in Docs and Drive.
Outstanding. And William is in the Hangout, but his camera is pointing against a wall, so I don't know if he's alive or if he had to go run somewhere. So we'll give him a few minutes if he doesn't participate. And if we have more people who try to join us, we'll kick them out. And Brian, you joined last. Do you have a mic? All right, not sure if Brian has a mic. Ronau, I think is how you pronounce his last name. So we'll find out here in a few minutes. Okay, so let's talk 2015. And then after that, we'll talk some questions and things like that. So here's somebody I would like to ask first of, though. Christina, what are your ideas of what we will see in 2015?
We're going to be killed by all the HTTPS stuff and the problems related to it, with Googlebot not understanding all the various forms, with people not understanding how to redirect their sites. And yeah, I think that's going to really kill a lot of us, with undue worry, actually, mostly. What else are we going to see? Well, new forms of spam.
Let's talk about that HTTPS thing, because I think Barry actually wrote a post about it or something I saw, of where people are incorrectly implementing HTTPS still. They don't realize that yes, your canonical has to have the HTTPS, and you have to make sure that HTTPS works correctly across the board, and because if you have one thing out of place, then it screws everything up. Barry, you wrote about that, right?
Right. It's not going to kill us.
It's going to kill us. TCs and rising stars in the forum having to explain it all over again to everybody, even within the same thread. They come in and say, I got a problem with that too. Well, that's the usual stuff we see all the time. They never read what's been said before.
It's true.
They somehow land in a thread and say, yeah, mine doesn't work. Okay. Did you try this, that? Oh. Okay.
Okay. So what else for 2015, Christina?
Well, more spam, new forms of spam for sure. They're still killing the structured data when it has nothing to do with their content. What else? Mobile, for sure.
Okay.
The usual fight. Hello, William. The usual fight between having a responsive theme or using a separate mobile site and how to get from one to the other. What you can hide, what you can't hide, should you hide?
Okay, so let's because I want to give everybody time here. So let's go, Barry. What are your some of your stuff?
I think what's really going to kill us are the knowledge graph, the quick answers that Google's sticking into the search results. I think that's really going to have an impact on most websites that have very useful content. That Google's going to just scrape it and show that information. That's going to be an ongoing. That's going to be an ongoing issue for SEOs. I don't think HTTPS is going to be a big deal. I think they have to hire somebody who knows what they're doing. If they don't know what they're doing, then it requires an actual server guy and programmer to actually implement. If somebody buys a WordPress site and wants it to be HTTPS, they can't just flip a switch. And maybe hopefully in the future WordPress will add that type of feature. But it's not that simple. They've set up the redirects properly and all that other stuff. It's not really an SEO thing. It's more of just a setup thing, set up properly. Mobile obviously is going to be very important. It still is very important today, but it's going to be even more important in the future. But in terms of what's going to kill us, I really think it's going to be the knowledge graph and quick answers that Google shows up.
I could see that as well. I mean, I know that after knowledge graph is changing here. When was that? I mean, I remember the announcement was made like last month, but they said it was going to change sometime later this year, right? Was it Q2 or Q3? I can't remember. Does anybody remember?
I don't remember even an announcement.
Yes. Well, Freebase. I'm talking about Freebase actually. So incorrect on that.
Okay.
So Freebase data is changing. So they're killing that, but and then moving data over and things like that. So that's a unique thing, all in itself. So I mean, there's some definite. I think Freebase and knowledge graph. I like knowledge graph data, but I wish that there was more control by. I wish there was more control from the webmaster that they're taking the data from, that they're able to populate different types of things in there.
Well, they're taking it from the website, but also from many other sites that have anything to do with this one. That mention it, maybe Wikipedia, maybe this, maybe that. So it's sometimes very hard to go chase around where that wrong address or phone number or wrong information altogether came from.
I'll tell you what, and Barry, tell me if I'm wrong or right on this. If I was the person in charge of Amazon's IMDb SEO, I think I would be the most angry person regarding knowledge graph data in the carousel for movies and things like that. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if it'd be the most. I guess it'd probably be one of the top ones. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I would love to find out who that is and get them in this Hangout.
I mean, a lot of these dictionary websites, a lot of the answer websites, a lot of those things are going to just... You see it every day. A new thing pops up in terms of Google's answering.
Top 5, top 7, top 10, top 15.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue. I do think that knowledge graph data will hurt more small businesses, I think, or large business. I mean, large businesses, not small businesses, but large businesses that have lots of data sets that are trying to do things. I think Ticketmaster is probably somebody you will see all the concerts and stuff like that. I have a feeling that will come up soon. So, I don't know. All right, Danny, what are some of your things for?
Lost you.
So I think moving away from links, backlinks towards mentions is a big one in 2015. About the answer graph, I can't wait for one of these websites to challenge it on copyright infringement grounds to claim that it goes beyond fair use, to take out a few paragraphs from their website and just publish it on the SERPs like that. I mean, that has to go beyond fair use. To take that much content, hopefully somebody challenges it. If anybody knows of a court case that's pending, I'd be glad to hear about it. But hopefully a court sides with a plaintiff in the future and really kicks Google's butt back to where it should be, because they're really taking an aggressive approach with this in their interpretation of fair use. I mean, I understand with snippets that short description would qualify for fair use, but these answer graphs, it's getting to be too much. I mean, unfortunately, most of the courts have held on Google's side when they've been challenged on these things. But hopefully we'll get an American court that kicks Google's butt in 2015.
Can I just add on that? I think I'm right in saying that Yelp and TripAdvisor did challenge Google quite some time ago, and there was I think it was an FTC hearing of some sort, and as a result of that, Google then had to introduce a new feature in Webmaster Tools where you could opt out of kind of scraped data being shown for like reviews, as an example. But I know it was definitely something you had to go into and turn off. It was automatically turned on, but that feature originally wasn't there. So I'm not sure if that's different to, if Answers is different to kind of reviews, but there's definitely recordings or videos for that Yelp and TripAdvisor instance.
That'd be interesting. I haven't seen that in Webmaster Tools.
Okay, it definitely exists. Maybe it's a manual thing where you have to kind of email someone and force it to happen.
Okay, good to know.
All right, Google hates me today. All right, so I missed the last minute. Sorry about that. What were we talking about?
Sorry. There was a kind of an FTC hearing some time ago, over a year ago, where Yelp and TripAdvisor challenged Google's kind of scraping of their data, which was then being kind of rendered as kind of quick answers or like reviews being automatically shown, and they sometimes Google was linking to those reviews, sometimes, but they weren't allowing a site to be both shown in organic and showing and the reviews kind of shown. It was either all on or completely disallowed. So they then introduced a system where you could go in. I think it was a feature in Webmaster Tools, but I need to double check, because where you could turn off that feature. You could use, you were shown on organic, but you could turn off the kind of scraped review data. But I'll find the video that references it.
No, that's a good one. I know that there was a law that just got passed here in California. Well, it finally went into effect yesterday, January 1st, stating that companies now can't sue Yelp based on a user's review.
Can or cannot?
Cannot.
Okay.
So, because all Yelp is doing is housing the data. They're not writing it. So you can't sue in California, or you can't. So I don't know how that's going to affect if you're in, like, outside of the country, like Barry said, sue in Italy, or if you're in Florida, if you want to be able to sue Yelp in Florida. So I don't know how that's going to work, but I know in California you can't sue anymore.
Hi guys, can I just touch on the knowledge graph?
Yeah, we talked about it for a few minutes, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think John Mueller was saying that no, I mean it's basically to help the website. You know, when a knowledge graph appears, like Danny was saying, from a specific website, you know, it's supposed to help the actual site as opposed to hurting it. I asked him about that also in the Hangout, which was just last week, and he's saying it's supposed to help, not hurt.
Well, he's going to say what he's going to say, but the true effect is what people feel.
Well, which people?
The webmasters, the owners of those websites.
But Google's client is not the webmaster. Google's client is the searcher. So if it helps searchers, then all is good. Now, the webmaster's concern should be, is that information correct? If it's not, how to fix it.
So I'll give you an example of, for instance, if you're typing like how to eat healthy, and I'm getting like helpguide.org, so it's kind of grabbing a specific article from helpguide.org and, you know, then giving me other options. I mean, I don't see how it's going to hurt. I don't see it really hurting.
It cannot hurt. I mean, if you say there is another site that's better than that one, that's a different matter.
You guys are delusional. You guys don't know what you're talking about. It's really that simple. Google's taking content, huge amounts of it, taking it from your website, sticking it at the top of their search results, sometimes, not always, but sometimes including a little link below saying this is where it's sourced from. So if you type in how do I do what, X, Y, or Z, all you got to do is go to the search results and don't have to click to the publisher who wrote the content. You don't have to click over them. They get no impression, they get no ad impressions, they get no nothing, because Google took the content almost in its entirety, most of the time in its entirety, sometimes and sometimes not. It depends on certain situations. They'll link to you and sometimes they won't.
It's their house. They can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, but it's simply scraping content and that's all.
They can't do whatever they want. There's laws they have to follow too.
Yeah, but I mean, like for instance, this specific like how to eat healthy query, like search whatever I just typed in. I mean, I'm looking at it. Yeah, I guess you're not getting any impressions from that. I mean, it's giving me, and then help guide is organically, you know, second result, and then WikiHow is on top. I mean, maybe it's a short time. I mean, Barry, what do you think? Maybe this could be for a short time. Not. Maybe it's a test, right?
No, this has been going on for a while. We discussed this several times in this Hangout. This is nothing new. We talked about how Google's head of search, Amit Singhal, said that this is like a Swiss Army knife and it's not really the actual tool, so they're just getting a snippet of something, how to answer their query. But if they want to really know how to answer their query, you're going to have to click into the website to figure it out. It's just getting worse, so I don't see the case. I think Google really should, and we discussed this again, I think the solution is if your site and your content's being used for the knowledge graph, Google Webmaster Tools, they should give you an option to say what link, where do you want that to link to, and which icon do you want it to use in the search results to link to your content. Because when Google sources their own content, they put a link saying, like a little arrow with a bold thing saying, click here to learn more about this. But when they source your content, they're not doing that.
I see a new option coming for 2015 in Webmaster Tools that maybe will give you an option to, you know, help people. Maybe it will come, or maybe even to remove it. I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, they're kind of like using my, like the content without kind of even asking me.
Can you control it with rich snippets?
No, there's no control here.
Okay.
No, nothing. You can't control it. You can just no index your site.
Yeah. The only way to control it is to keep your site no indexed. And then you're going to run into other issues. I mean, then it's you know, I do laugh though that people, you know, that Groupon study, you know, I always refer to that now. Then people say, oh, well, you know, how much of my direct traffic is actually related to search. I ran a test last week on a company. They're small. They get less than 1,000 visits per week, and this is they don't make any money during the Christmas time. And so I said, okay, well, you guys mind if I run a test? And so I de-indexed their site, and their organic traffic started to slide to the bottom of the floor, but their direct traffic started to slide as well. It should have stayed the same. So I mean, I look at Google. There's a lot of issues still with Google, and we're never going to know everything that's there. We just won't. So, anyways, Robert? What are some things that you're seeing for 2015? Some things that you're planning on doing, some tactics and things like that.
A lot more UX and site structure design. Seeing a lot of sites with that issue of just not having a clear funnel.
And are you going to be doing this on your own sites or your client sites or things like that?
All of the above.
Nice. Okay, and let's see. Ted, I know I always want to say your last name is Juke, but how do you say your last name, Ted?
Juck, like a truck.
Juck.
With a J.
Okay, there we go. So, so my question is this for you, Ted? What new things are going to see out of Google Docs? Come on, I know you can spell the beans.
Well, a lot. I don't know. I think mobile's going to be the biggest thing. A lot of people are now trying to edit docs and do spreadsheets and all that stuff on mobile devices, and it creates a completely different user experience from doing things on a computer. And so I think that's one thing that Google's really looking into, and what can they do to make your experience much better, different than if you're on the web, but better for mobile. Because right now, I mean, a lot has changed in the past year, but it's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I know that I can't edit docs very easily on my tablet, and it annoys me. And writing functions or things like that in a spreadsheet on my tablet blows.
Yep, and then any spreadsheets or anything that have scripts on them are pretty much completely useless. And that. But also, something else I thought of, and now I can't remember. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Well, let us know if you have anything interesting with Docs coming out soon, because I think all of us here probably use Docs. If not, it's a very simple thing to use.
Whatever happened to? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Whatever happened to the dictation, kind of like the Google Now thing?
You mean the microphone that was on the Docs thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if anything's happened to it. I just know that I saw that post out there too and was pretty interested as to what that was.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. It's been a feature request for a while, so I'm sure it's something they're working on, but I haven't seen anything other than what everyone else has seen.
Yeah, I think there's some. I think Google Docs is pretty awesome. I just wish there was a little more functionality, but I bet we all want that. We all want that with everything, including search and things like that. All right, so I know that. What was this? Phil, I know you had some questions regarding JSON and some schema stuff, or I think it's just JSON. So you want to talk about that, and we can dive into that question?
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, there's actually a deck as well for I can post for viewers that are watching this video. The link to the deck is it's just bit.ly/SEO data layer, and that goes to a PowerPoint deck. In fact, I'll just paste it in. In fact, it might be SEO data layer number 2. I've just pasted a link into the chat window. Owen, it has a kind of Terminator theme to it as well. But the two kind of points, so as I mentioned, I'm a sort of web analyst by trade, and I do a lot of GTM implementations. But one thing that's kind of interesting is there's this new kind of JavaScript-based markup, which is a hybrid of schema.org and JavaScript. But one of the cool things is that if you use it within email, you actually get an action button within the email. So, for instance, if you do it, say you send out just a normal, like for instance, GitHub was sending out emails, and instead of having view email, they changed the link or the action button in the email to a view pull request or approve or disapprove. And the same thing's been done for events where you can say, join event maybe or no. And that's also starting to happen for if you've got I've seen on WordPress sites where they've marked out potential actions like do a search from this page as an action that you could do, or make a telephone call from this page, and that markup for future actions is kind of available. I know with telephone numbers, Google was indexing that and showing that the telephone number within JSON-LD on SERPs, but only on for Google.com. And obviously Gmail now supports this kind of offline structured markup for JSON-LD. So I'm kind of curious to know what people's thoughts are on that. And also, if you have a look kind of through the slides, just kind of let me know if you think I kind of got it right. Because I've kind of summarized it as this is a really good one to look out for the future, because it has benefits both in terms of kind of action rates, as in let's just say on SERPs you've got instead of just click through to the site, actually make a phone call or approve or add this event into my calendar. So you'd actually get an increased rate of people adding you to a calendar from SERPs. So that seems kind of cool. It's a bit like structured markup in terms of increased organic CTR, but an actual action as a result of it. So it seems like a good one to kind of to add for the future. It's based on schema.org, which is obviously an accepted way of marking up snippets, but it's just the JavaScript kind of fork of that system. So any thoughts on that would be great.
Here, I'll mute Molly real fast because there's some nasty feedback there.
Yeah, so be able to have a look at the slides.
I'm looking. There's a lot of slides here.
Oh yeah.
So
the other one as well is if you check out the Gmail example, because that's a really good one, because obviously it's kind of a big user base as in Gmail, and it's obviously there. This is kind of Gmail related, but it'd be great if they port the same thing over to websites. The only ones they're officially supporting at the moment is obviously email, telephone numbers, and then music events. But hopefully that will be expanded out to other kind of actions. There's also a really good blog post on the future of the schema.org or JSON-LD here, which is I'm just going to add into. Oh, here you go. So that one. And there's a really cool little JSON-LD playground as well, where you can kind of experiment with. It's a bit like kind of building out a rich snippet, but it just builds out a JSON-LD kind of structured markup.
It's very cool. Thanks for sharing.
That's right.
So Phil, if you could do me a favor, if you could go to the Helpdesk Hangouts Google Plus page for those who are watching the video.
Okay.
And make a synopsis of all these links that you're dropping here, because there's some fantastic stuff.
Okay.
And drop them in there, so that way the people who are watching the Hangout can go and check out the Helpdesk Hangouts page for this.
Okay.
That would be awesome. And you don't have to do it now. You could do it later this afternoon, a couple hours, whatever.
Okay. Cool. All right. I'll paste in the link to the slides sort of now, just at least that's on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting data in here, and I think it's going to take me longer than 10 minutes to chew through this and understand if it's on the right thing. That's the only bad thing, because whenever I'm looking at someone's slides to audit them or things like that to make sure they're correct on their data points. I usually like to spend a couple hours going through, every slide and going, okay, does this make sense? Does this make sense here? And types of things like that. So I'm not going to give you any feedback right now. If anybody else wants to, they're free to, but I'm not going to, just because I like to cover my butt. I do like a lot of the pictures in here, though. But I see you're a big Terminator type guy. But yeah. So if you give me a little bit of time, I'll be glad to go through this later for you, but I just don't want to do it right now. But a lot of it, from what I'm seeing, looks correct. I'm tempted to use this on a website that I'm working on, but I haven't gone through and implemented it yet. I'll probably do it on a rebuild, probably in about 9 months to a year. And I'm going to rebuild my site with a version 2.0, but for 1.0, I'm not going to include this data yet.
Yeah, it'd be great to. I mean, I've only seen it on other than email, which is kind of like it's a really obvious one to kind of do on email because you get these instant kind of open rate improvements or action rate improvements.
Yep.
And in the fact that schema.org standard kind of structured markup doesn't allow you to do these future actions, so it seems like there's clear benefits in terms of action rate. So it seems like a good kind of one to spend time on potentially. It's just annoying that they're only supporting email, telephone number, and these kind of music events. It'd be great to do like apps would be a good one to do. And although there is obviously there is structured markup for apps at the moment. Other ones which would be good as well would just be a general. There's some hybrids within the kind of Google Tag Manager community, which would be good to combine with JSON-LD as well, like for instance, add to calendar would be a good one, and details about a visitor or share with friends or something like that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I mean I've started to play with a little bit of that stuff, but I will say that some of it is technical a little bit more than I really have the knowledge base for, and so I'm still learning a little bit around it. Christina asked a question: how does that Gmail markup work for email sent to other mail providers? As far as I know, other email providers right now, it's not rendering that data. So if you do like track a package or things like that, then it's not really there. Not all clients are supporting that yet. I know if you're using like your own mail client on your own computer, it's not going to support that at all. But I know if you're using a web browser, then it will support it. As far as Gmail goes, I don't think they're supporting it yet for Yahoo or Hotmail, if anybody here uses those two services.
One other one that I did see as well, though, is that Apple are now also supporting a form of this. So, for instance, when I signed up to a flight, the flight email was sent in both JSON-LD, which the kind of Gmail was able to pick up, and Gmail also is now automatically adding that event into my calendar. But my iPhone on iOS 8 was also had a kind of add to calendar as well. So Apple is able to kind of pass that data as well within their client.
Yeah, Apple's trying to do that as part of their notifications window. And so they are trying to render that data. I know they can. It's just that I know their mail server, if you're using Apple Mail and you're routing everything through your Apple Mail on your computer or your phone, it's not going to render it all the time for everything. But they're getting better at it. And that's the thing. I mean, there's not everything's not in there yet, and I think it's going to be a while before we see like all companies starting to use all the structured data that you can possibly use. We're really seeing it from shipping manufacturers or shipping providers, UPS and the such. They're the ones that are really rendering that data the most, tracking the package and stuff. Does that make sense? And I think that every person working at Google wants to know when their stuff's actually going to arrive, either at Google or at their house, because they're buying, tech and things like that. Amazon. So, okay.
eBay's got a really good setup for that.
Yeah, they do. They really, really do. Okay. Let's see. Christina, was you right here? We send out newsletters, and that markup would be neat if it worked for all recipients and all mail applications. I concur. I think it would be nice. I think it would enhance the user to be able to want to click on it, but then we're going to relate back to, okay, well now aren't too many companies using markup, and then will Google take that function away? Because everybody's starting to use it, and then they spam it. So it's, I'd really, really only like to see just a few instances of it being used, tracking a package or view reservation, track of flight type stuff. It's very simple, basic things.
It does go in given that Googlebot is now executing JavaScript for both crawl discovery and for content for like sites, say, using like Angular framework or kind of Ajax. Given that this code is rendered in JavaScript, it makes sense for Googlebot to kind of expand out their parsing to also crawl and index JavaScript-based structured markup as well, because it's a natural extension of the route that they're taking within JavaScript crawling.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely a wise thing. I was actually on a website the other day. I had to laugh that their entire website, they had 50 pages worth of content, and it was all JavaScript rendered. The URL never changed, and if you clicked on any links, the URL never changed anywhere. And I kind of had to laugh at that. It was not a Flash site; it was just a complete JavaScript website. But Google had somehow indexed over 200 pages of it, but they were all rendering it as the exact same URL. They were changing the H1 titles, but they were keeping the URL exactly the same, and the title and the description were changing slightly, which I thought was, the description pretty much was saying that, it was unavailable, or it was rendering just a little bit of things in there. It was really kind of funny. I had a good laugh.
That's an interesting point, actually, because how could they force the user to land onto the page that was rendered in exactly that mode? Because then, in effect, they're landing on, so let's just say, a home page, and then they're interacting with the page to generate the content. I know there is, I think you can do a thing with hash bangs, like, for instance, Twitter uses as a form of kind of allowing those pages to be indexed.
That assumes there is a separate URL for each page.
Yeah.
If they keep it under the same URL with no alternate URL with the fragment and all that, I can't imagine anything good coming out of it. Either they have all the content in that one page and it's just hidden from view, and the JavaScript reveals this or that as clicked, or they're doomed. I don't think Google should go to all the trouble to parse through all the garbage that people code. Really, I think that's doing them a disservice. They should build a proper site. Sorry.
I agree. To a point, though, I mean, we're going to have people who are still going to use, like, GoDaddy web host or web builders to build a website, which we all know is probably one of the worst. Robert, is that your favorite platform?
No. No.
So, I mean, we see all those types of things, and, we get Drupal and Joomla and WordPress and custom CMS and Wix, which is why anybody uses them, just floors me. I had somebody contact me the other day asking me if I could SEO their Wix website, and I was like, no, I can't. I was like, not even, no.
SEO would not be the right word to use.
I was like, how about we rebuild your website? I was like, Wix is a great platform if you're a mommy blogger and you just want to start on something really small and keep it there. I think that's a great platform. Everything has its own reason for living.
Fix the Wix.
Yeah, and I think Wix is a great platform, but unfortunately they spend millions of dollars in commercials and Facebook ads and YouTube ads and everything trying to promote their site, and mommy bloggers are using it, and that's great. And those are the ones that should.
Isn't Google Sites pairing up with Wix as well?
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wix is just for, the super small person that doesn't want to spend any money on a website. They don't have it,
It's like the .ccLDs of years.
Yeah.
You don't want to spend it up front, but you'll end up spending it when you expect the website to perform and it doesn't, and then
it's great. It's great if you're like, if it was like, if you don't really care and you're just going to write a blog post, and the only people who are going to really see it is going to be, family and friends, and that's it. If it's basically like a private site, but then I might as well just say, well, just use Blogger. because it's going to do the exact same thing and just make it private. So, there's there's different things. I'm trying stuff out. I'm going to actually build a website this year, another one, a personal site, a small site for myself. I'm actually using Go to build it.
Go.
So I don't know if any of you have used Go before.
Go
No,
live?
the programming language Go.
Never heard of it.
No. It's really robust. It's got a lot of stuff in there. You can do a lot of different things with it. I strongly recommend people go check out. If you're, check out a new language this year. If you haven't built a website, build one by hand.
I do.
Use a language that you've never used before.
Oh, not that.
Use a Cobalt. No, I'm kidding.
I do my stuff in PHP.
I mean, there's really a lot of great languages out there. Go's a really good one. Dart's a cool one.
Is that a real language, or is just some kind of framework on top of some?
Go's a real language.
So what server does it run on?
You can run it on Apache. So Golang.
You sure it's not converted into PHP or even?
It converts a little bit. Here, I'll share the link with you.
Or is Go on your computer and you build it that way, and then whatever is generated you upload to the server?
So if you go to golang.org, GOLANG.org.
Okay, wait a minute. Golang.org. I would have thought that's
Molly just posted it.
Something to do with the Golan Heights, but anyway, I guess.
No. So basically, and the language is, I don't remember who built it, but it's been around for a couple years. And there's a lot of different stuff that you can do with it.
Golan with a G or okay. Because I got golan.org, and that's a part page.
GOLANG.org.
All right.
So there's a lot of different stuff you can do, and if you don't decide to use this one, use something else. There's if you've never built a website before, or if you've built a website, learn something new. I think 2015 should be all about new stuff. Should be about doing things that you haven't done before and pushing the edge as far as what you've been doing. If most of us here are SEOs, or Ted is not an SEO. He's a Drive guy, but I'm sure that we can all push ourselves into doing something new this year. Ted, I would love to see new docs come out that work exactly like Excel.
What do you mean?
Which version of Excel?
The current version.
2013 or whatever?
Yeah.
Sheets.
Yeah, they don't work exactly like it.
Nothing works exactly like Excel.
I know.
I was using Open Office for quite some time, and I was so frustrated. And finally, I bought my Office, MS Office, and I'm hoping to milk it for a while. No, not that one.
Oh.
No, there's no way I'm going up in the clouds or anything like that and renew license every year.
That's awesome, though.
I don't care. I bought mine. I'm going to milk it for a few years, and then we'll see. By then, I'll be probably gaga anyway, and I won't need it. But, nope.
Okay, cool.
I'm not getting information on this Golang thing at all, like what it does, where it. Do you have a site on the web where I can see that?
Yeah, there's a few websites out there that are
built that way.
Yeah.
I think especially as an SEO, it's really important that somebody learn the technical side, so all the code and stuff that is involved in an optimization. So.
before optimization, just get it to work properly. Never mind the optimization, or optimize the code. Never mind the search engine optimization aspect. So everybody jumps straight to that.
So
I want to SEO my site, and the site doesn't even work.
Well, I mean, in the way of programming.
So one of the biggest sites out there, I actually know the CEO of the company. He went to the University of Utah as I did, and it's SmugMug. It's all done on Go.
Spell that.
SmugMug is the photo.
That's right, SmugMug. SmugMug.com. And that is all done in Go. And that whole entire site is.
Okay,
nice
I need to see the back end.
Infinite scroll? No. Yeah.
Oh, please.
So that site is all been done. Don McCaskill, really smart guy. In fact, he was on this Hangout a couple years ago. And so, yeah, no, the guy knows his stuff, and really smart guy. But they switched over to Go about 2 years ago because it helped them for speed. That's what they realized. So it's kind of cool stuff. Go check it out. And you don't have to use Go. You can use anything. Check out Dart. Check out any of the different languages out there. There's tons of them.
But I mean, my server is Apache, and it only.
But yeah, so real quick.
Use PHP on it.
Mm-hmm. So real quick though, Danny has a request. He says he wants to talk more SEO. So let's talk more SEO real fast because we only got about 13 minutes left and we got to bounce. So Danny, what are some of the things you're planning on doing for 2015?
Definitely going mobile and messing with that. I've decided to do a separate URL with MDOT and hoping it's going to go okay. Incorporate more UX. That's about it.
Okay. So as you and I, we had a number of conversations going back and forth about mobile and responsive. What finally led you to go away from responsive and go towards mobile?
When I thought about how my mobile site should look and will look, it has. I can't incorporate everything I want to from the desktop into the mobile. It's just going to be a very short version of the desktop, and I don't want to. From everything I've been watching and reading, I don't want to take the chance to go with responsive, where something is missing from the desktop that should be on the mobile, or the other way around. That would cause some my rank to go down. So I've decided to just treat them as separate URLs and use the canonical. And I'm getting the impression that that's the safest way to go if you can't incorporate everything from your desktop, most of the substantive stuff from your desktop onto your mobile. I've determined that's the safe way to go.
Okay. If the stuff that you cannot incorporate is more than just
yeah, it's more than just the headers and the navigation and the footers.
Yeah,
even the substantive stuff I can't put in the mobile.
It's actually important content. Well, okay. Then, but
so I think yeah, I was gonna say, I think Danny has a plan.
It's kind of liberating. I mean, I'm just starting the mobile from scratch, so I don't have to mess with the CSS and think about how the CSS makes it look in mobile and then makes it look in trying to.
Well,
it's kind of cumbersome trying to make something look two ways, whereas you can just do a different style sheet for the mobile and just be done with it.
But that different style sheet still needs to use all the tricks to make it work on different types of mobiles.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing. There's a lot of different types of mobile, and You know, Danny, I mean, I've cautioned you before. I think at least you're taking a decision, and I respect that. And I think that, you know, in a year from now, I think you're going to come back and say, you know what, I think responsive was the way to go. But
okay, the M dot is going to be a responsive, has to be a responsive site by itself. The only thing is you don't cater to the desktop.
exactly.
Or you don't care. But in itself, it has to be responsive.
Yeah, because it's going to have to be able to go all the way from the 6 phones down to like a really small phone, you know, a 4 or something like that type, you know, iPhone, and be able to render for all those types of things. So, I mean, it'll still render as far as that goes.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my decision. I think it's the best way to go. I mean, I was just too nervous with going with responsive and not incorporating all the substantive stuff from the desktop into the mobile.
At
I
which
feel like
point?
it's a safer way to go.
But a big mobile, like a big tablet, for instance, that's mobile, that is kind of like a desktop as well.
The tablet, I'm just going to show the desktop.
Yeah, well, you know, as you shift from the tiniest, I forget which ones they are. Let me see what I have.
I'm using Bootstrap, so Bootstrap is pretty good for. They got everything covered.
Okay.
They've thought about most of these things.
Oh, then it's bloated.
Is there something? Is there something like case studies or something you've looked at to make you lean more that way, or?
See.
Just hearing John Mueller and then the India spam team, and a few I posted in some forums where I got the impression that the mobile version has to look substantially similar to the desktop, with the exception of the navigation, the footer, you know, the non-substantive stuff has to look substantially similar. And I just couldn't do that with my mobile. There's just way too much content on my desktop.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay. I have this extension in Chrome that adds responsive mobile view, and it has a few devices on it. Xperia X10 Mini Pro, which is tiny, tiny, tiny. iPhone 4, iPhone 5, Nokia Lumia, and they get bigger and bigger. The last 2 of them, I think iPad 1, 3, and laptop. Well, of course, that's a. Even the iPad Mini often can be rendered as a desktop, but then when you turn it, maybe it's not. So even within your mobile, you have to use a responsive methodology. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, well, the container is set to auto or 100% all the way up to the tablet size. So it is responsive in that way. It does expand. It's not a fixed container.
It's not just that. You need to have, as you get to the smaller devices, you need to have a bigger font size. You need to be able to tap.
But I think we need to acknowledge, though, that at least Danny is making a decision. Because he was going back and forth for a few months. And that, Danny, is what I respect the most. You finally put a flag on the ground. I think it took like 2.5 months to do it, to make the decision. But and I know it can be anguishing for a lot of webmasters to decide if they want to go with a mobile site or with a responsive site. I think you did the smart thing in that you weighed out all of the issues. You said, you know, what's going to happen if I go responsive? You know, what's all this? What's all this? And you asked, I think, all the right questions. You know, and then the same thing you said, well, what happens if I go mobile? And you asked all those questions. And you said for yourself, going with a mobile site is the smart thing to do at this time. Now, it doesn't make sense, and I think you said this a couple weeks ago to me privately, you know, and hope I'm not, you know, saying anything, or maybe as I said it, but a mobile site is good, you know, a responsive site is good for sites that want to do it and understand the risks and mitigate them. And mobile site does the same thing. So mobile and responsive both do the same thing, but you have to make the decision and you have to stick with it. Do you agree with that?
And I'm glad, and I've started coding, so at least I'm on my way.
Exactly. I mean, at least Yeah, and I wish you the best of luck. And you
Thank
know
you.
what? At least you're making a decision where a lot of webmasters, as we're still seeing it, don't even have a mobile site.
Okay, I have, at this point, I think I have 3 fairly successful responsive sites that work okay on mobile, but I have others that I am struggling with because it's just so messy. I don't want to change the desktop version to cater to also a responsive theme, but I don't want to go to an M dot either. So in the meanwhile, I'm doing nothing.
And I almost think that doing nothing is worse than doing at least something.
Well, okay, I've done 1% of something. At least provided a visible menu on when it goes to mobile, because my original menu was too tiny. You couldn't do anything with it. But for the rest, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to expand the site, and then eventually it'll get done. But I'm not due for an actual redesign of the site yet, or maybe I am. I don't know. I don't want to start it on my own and then be told, no, 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 we want this, we want that. So I'm waiting to see what they want first, and then I'll work with that. Because none of these are my sites, personal sites. My daughter's, this one, the other one.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna kind of close it down now. I've got to go and get my dog out of here. Got to go for a walk. But
For a minute.
yeah, we got a couple minutes. Okay, so let's ask this question then, real fast. Okay. So, what are you gonna plan on doing in 2015 that's gonna set you apart from everyone else? I am gonna launch a new website that's dedicated to athletic events. So,
Did it launch?
It will launch here in a couple weeks, or at the end of this week. So, so Brian, what are you gonna do for this week, or for this year? I mean, sorry.
Oh, for this year, I take my education site online. I have worked on it for about half a year now.
Outstanding.
So where I can teach and help people to make their websites with the CMS versions like Joomla and WordPress, etc.
Awesome. Christina, what are you going to do?
Well, I got to mobilize some of my older sites, or redesign them all together with. But I really want to stick to responsive.
Okay.
I have a bunch of domains that I also need to merge and do something useful with, rather than have a bit of data here, a bit of data there.
All right, cool.
Legacy stuff.
Okay, Danny, I know you're going to do an M.dot site, so I'm not even going to ask you now.
Well, we want to see it when you've done.
Yeah, let us know when you have it done, man. Phil.
Well, as you know, I'm experimenting in JSON-LD, so I'll report back on how that goes. I'm also, as I mentioned, I'm doing a presentation in Budapest in about 3 weeks' time for Super Week, and one of that things is how to be evil. So I thought, well, you know, Google kind of that's what they like. So I'm not saying that's a good kind of New Year's resolution, but that's what I'm talking about there. It's actually on Black Hat analytics, so it's not actually Black Hat SEO, but there's some kind of interesting kind of overlap. So I'm not saying that's
Black Hat. Wait a minute, you gotta define that. What's Black Hat analytics?
If you Google it, there's some SlideShare stuff that will come up. It's all based off Star Wars. So have a look. There's some quite funny connotations with that.
Get Lysis in here.
Sorry, say again?
You should get Lysis here. She might dig Black Hat stuff.
Okay. But yeah, I guess in terms of SEO, I mean, I'm looking at this from an analytics point of view. So how can you get either actions as a result of a structured markup or better ways of reporting stuff to clients? So capturing any additional value that can be attributed back to organic in order to justify increased spend on organic. So that's my kind of takeaway for 2015 is going to be more focusing on reporting kind of both macro and micro conversions and multiple touch points that can be prove additional value to SEO and obviously the actionable aspect of it and anything that can increase organic CTR based off snippets or JSON-LD is my other kind of sort of plan for this year.
Okay, outstanding.
Is that all?
And, no. So let's go with Robert real quick. We'll go like 2 minutes over here. So Robert, go 1 minute.
Over my head, but great.
I got about 3 big projects, and most of them are creating UX, a better UX for the sites and complete SEO, but they're huge sites, so they're going to be probably the rest of the year to do them.
Gotcha. And Ted.
I lost your screen. Oh, there it is. So in real life, I work in security now, so I'm trying to, my goal for this year is to learn some more programming languages so I can get my chops up a little bit more than what I know now.
Data security, service security, or
data security.
Guard? Oh, okay. Not a security guard.
No.
You know how to prevent DDoS attacks?
Stuff like that, yeah.
Ted, you'd love my Black Hat slides. There's a lot of security references within there.
Yeah, I just opened it up. I also like Star Wars, so.
Yeah. There's actually there's a slight update to that deck, so I'm just going to post the more recent version. So that's the public deck. I actually did this at eMetrics. Where is it? eMetrics. And I love the Security Now podcast by, oh gosh, what's the name of the guy? He's got a moustache. Steve Gibson, is that right? Yeah. Cool,
okay, so do me a favor, Phil. Can you go and post all of these links? These are awesome links that you've posted. Can you go and post those in the Helpdesk Hangouts Google Plus page, and then I will make sure they get on the YouTube page as well, because I don't want to post any links that you don't want posted.
Okay.
Thanks, bud. Okay, so with that being said, let's all look forward to an awesome 2015 and go learn a language this year. I think it's going to be fun. So and try to do something you haven't done before.
I speak 5 languages. Okay, what more do you want from me?
I want you to speak Dart.
I can't even play Dart properly. You want me to speak it?
Now you got to speak the language of Dart. It's a Google programming language.
Okay. So,
all right.
Well,
that being said, thanks for joining everyone this week.
Thank you very much.
Please subscribe on YouTube if you have not.